a spot right now where a lot of shit in my life, you know, it was like a crux period in my life where I had to make a change in my life, and it was just one of those times where I had to listen to myself, and I didn't. And you know, the ramifications of that were like everything, they were good and bad. And it was just one of those moments in life that, you know, that you'll never forget. You know, it's one of those, you know, you can call it a scar, but at the same time, it was something that ended up, I couldn't be where I'm at now without it, and I'm glad I learned so much from it, because it was just one of those things where, you know, it was just a lesson that I had to learn. It was a lesson at some level, though, I could have avoided, because I knew for a long time that it was going to happen. I had the feeling in my mind that this was going to happen. Like, I had a feeling that somebody would be pulling the guns out on me, and like what KRS once said, the person taking from you, the person stealing, they're already making themselves the lesser being. You know what I mean? Like that, the person that's taking or stealing is the lesser being. They put themselves in that position, and the person that's being robbed, they put themselves in that position. And people will call it what they want, you know what I mean? I don't care what anyone say. Like, I know what I know. Like, I'll beat the brakes off of both of them. That's why they brought the machinery. You know what I mean? Like, it was two people pulling machinery out on one man to get an object. And you can call me whatever you want to call me. I'm gonna give up the object before I give up my life. I don't care. Like, it's just, I'm not about to give them all that energy. They can just take the energy of the object before they take my life. Like, you know what I mean? Because I already know, like, if you give me another day, like, that's all that really matters. And I learned the lesson the hard way, you know, not listening to myself. But so much greatness came from that day that I really can't even complain. Like people don't even know, like, over here, like, what, you know, what happened as far as, you know, the emotional trauma or whatever you want to call it. Like, you know what I mean? I can't even complain. Like, it's really something I should rejoice about, because it changed my life for the better. I mean, at some level, though, I guess I had to bottom out. It kind of made me bottom out a little bit, because it changed my whole perception of people. You know, like, I feel like as far as deceit goes and where people will go, like, because I was always that type of person that I'd be cool with everybody. Everybody that I ever dealt with, I was always cool with them. I never felt like I was better than anybody, and it was always love for me. You know what I mean? And you know, I can't blame anybody for what happened, but you know, certain people, you know, did certain things that made it more possible for this all to happen to me. But like, again, you know, it came down to listening to myself, and I didn't. And it's just one of those moments in life where, you know, it just changes your whole perception on how people operate and how people function. You know what I mean? And you can take it and run in the shell for the rest of your life. You know, you can be destructive for the rest of your life, or you know, you can take it and learn. It was something I had to. I really, like, kind of self-destructed. Like, see, I got the vest on now. Like, you know, people be like, why you got the vest on? Like, I'd rather have a vest on. It's more passive to me to have a vest on than to walk around with the strap. You know what I mean? Because you know, at one point I was walking around with the strap everywhere. I didn't even function. Like, where I was at mentally was so gone. I was so paranoid. Again, like, you know, not listening to myself had everything to do with being on a substance. And that's why I tell people all the time, like, I mean, you don't need weed. You know what I mean? Weed is not, you know, it has a time and a place, and you move on from it. But I was using it as a crutch. I was high out of my mind. If I wasn't high, I wouldn't even ever been in this situation. But if I wasn't high, I might at that point been, honestly, I was at a Division I school, and you know, I let the high and all that, I let the ills get to me and everything, came here, let that whole shit happen, and it just, you know, I picked that path, and I was just part of that path, man. And if I was never high, it would just never would have occurred. And you know, people say, you know, that you can't die on weed, or people don't die on weed, you don't overdose, but weed will get you killed just like anything. And you might not necessarily overdose, but that shit will throw your senses off just enough to get killed. So, you know what I mean, who knows how many people die just over doing some dumb shit on weed, you know what I mean? Like, so it's all about keeping the vessel clean and right. I felt the sensations in my body. There were so many omens on the way to come to this spot that I already knew, already having felt it and seen it before as a child. the whole situation, like just knowing that in the decisions that I'm making in my life and my path, that somebody's gonna put a gun to my head at some point, and I just knew it, and I knew it before I had even gotten to a lifestyle where that would make that even possible. So it was just something that I innately knew, and this really the first time I had been back here since it happened. You know what I mean? It's like, it's one of them things, you know, I'm just now, you know, I feel on the way up here, I felt it too, like, you know, the trauma of the whole situation, reliving it, and you know, this is the only way to really heal, to come back to it and wash away that energy, and then do something like this where, you know, we reverse the energy and make it a positive thing. And you know, I mean, y'all really read about the details in the book when the book finally do drop, because, you know, I can't even, you know, a lot of it, you're not gonna hear all the details because I'm not snitching, you know what I'm saying, like, at all. I would never snitch, especially on something like that. You can't really snitch, and at the end of the day, I'd rather get my fair one anyway. But you know, I can tell they're not really about fair ones, because honestly, you know, like when you're dealing with movie makeup, when you're dealing with fake bloods, you know, aka movie makeup.
Yeah, that's it.
You know what I mean? When you're dealing with those people,
them blue bloods.
Yeah, you're dealing with the movie makeup. They some of the most dangerous people, because they so eager to prove something, because they. You know, a lot of gang members in general just looking for dad, man. They're just looking for daddies and shit, so they come together and they, you know, that's what happens. You know, it's just a collection of people that look for fathers, and then they collect their father figures, or you know, learn from each other, be each other's fathers. So you know, their growth isn't what it could be, and they might be looking up to somebody that they feel like they have to prove something to. You know, where they really just trying to prove something to themselves, because they haven't even found themselves to give their self an estimation or an esteem. So they do shit that they would never do, but you know, they're so eager to prove themselves because they don't know themselves, that they will do something like that. They will, you know, kill you over some dumb shit. So you really got to worry about the person trying to prove themselves, man. Like, you know, the strong move quiet and the weak start riot. So it's like, you know, you gotta really worry about that person, because they're just an open vessel. They're just a vessel out here that could do anything, and if they're doing anything to themselves, really, you know, you get a tattoo on your face or whatever, you're doing anything to yourself, really. You know, you're doing shit like that, getting teardrops and all that, like, it lets you know, like, what they'll do to another person, because they're already so gone that they're doing shit to themselves that what is it to do something to you? You know, if you're already scavenging like that, like to pull a gun out on somebody that, you know, that really is like, you should be looking at like as you, no separation, like your brother. But at the same time, I'm not acting like I'm innocent. I'm not gonna act like I'm innocent at all, like, because it comes, you know, what goes around comes around, and I was robbing myself before it all even happened. So I let the whole shit happen. You know what I mean? Like, again, even with the weed, I'm robbing myself. I'm robbing my body. So, you know, it all came down to, I was robbing myself in all different ways, and which manifested exteriorly, and to the point where I was literally robbed in this way. And it all came down to me letting it happen and applying my will or not applying my will.
Let them fly. Yeah. Let them fly.
A nice intermission with the geese there. So, yeah, like, you know, I'm not going to ever act like I'm innocent about the situation, because I created the whole situation. I let it happen, and it put a lot of things in perspective. So I appreciate something like that. It's not like you can tell anybody about it. So let me know about how to deal with shit inside myself, because, you know, I felt like I couldn't talk to anybody, especially because I felt like a lot of the people that put me in this position for this to even occur, I couldn't talk to them, because, you know, I don't even want to blame them. I'm not about to argue with them about what happened, and then I can't tell nobody about it, because you don't, you know, if you have any repercussions that you want to, you know, follow and do and take part in, you know, if you want to get involved with that, engage in that, and you can't speak on that. And I felt so isolated. It was the most isolated I ever felt in my life, but at the same time, it liberated me so much, because literally right after that, I moved back to California. It was literally like I flew out like 6 o'clock the next morning to California, And that's what really made me feel alone, because I was physically alone, and I can't talk on the phone about nothing like that, or, you know what I mean? So it was like, it was one of them situations where it was like a checkpoint in my life, and from that point everything switched to where I totally had to really, you know, move differently, and I had to look at everything differently, because I'm totally alone now. I'm physically alone. Before it was different, you know, I'm out here in Jersey, and, you know, I could rain down on these dudes and do whatever I was, you know, whatever, you know, that chain of course or whatever, get into that, and wouldn't be technically alone, but it really wouldn't have been beneficial in any way. Like, it just wouldn't. I already knew that I let this shit happen to myself, and that what goes around comes around, and there's really no thief in life, so everybody gonna get what's coming to them. So really, I already know by him doing that or them doing that, they're already sealing their own fate. So it's like, you know, I'm not about to perpetuate it. I'm not about to jump up in that cycle with him, that destructive cycle. I'm not about to jump into that and get myself into something like that, because there's really no point, because I already see how they want to play it. It's not like, you know, somebody physically took it from me or nothing like that. It's like, you pulled the machinery out on me. You already let me know, like, you know, your vessel ain't even in no position to do the things that you want, so you got to go outside of your vessel to get these things and use different tools to get these things. So it just already let me know, like, I just had to get to a point where I could forgive myself for it, because for years I just couldn't forgive myself for it, because the way it altered my life, and the people around me that did know, that did eventually know, the close people to me that did find out that it, you know, I just couldn't forgive myself, and I really got into the substances, and just being, you know, like a sociopath, psychopath, whatever, just not being there, and like really letting emotion drive my body, and really let other entities drive my body. So when I finally forgave myself and got past all that, man, and it really set me free, man. Like soon as I let go of the grudge, it really set me free, man. Myself, I could forgive everybody and really look past it and just look at everybody as a kid in the situation. Everybody involved, like the person trying to prove themselves, they both were scavenging. So, you know, and it was just something that I can see it for what it is now, and move on from it and grow from it, because it's just a situation where, you know, I had to learn, and at the end of the day, you know, they severed a connection. You know, at some level, you know, if they came correct to me, then you know, if I could see that they were genuine in their action, then I could build with them. But they severed a connection that, you know, that they have no idea. They really have no idea who they really did this to. You know what I mean? They really don't know, like, the power of this person and the connection that they severed, the bridge that they burnt. You know, like, they burnt the bridge, but they were standing underneath it. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's all, you know, I can't even, they really should, right now, I know I'm in a position in all levels that's, I don't want to say superior to them, but as far as my actions, behavior, the peace that I reside at is definitely at a different level than them. You know, I don't want to say better or worse, but it's definitely at a different level. I feel like I know I'm more at peace than somebody that's doing that and having to live with that. Because, you know, I had to live what I had to live with, but at the end of the day, I got through it, and, you know, it's something I can stand on now. Like, it's something that ain't really, it don't really bother me, because I know me now, and I know myself. I know, you know, I know what happened. You know what I mean? I know what the whole culmination of events, what they all mean, and what it will mean in the future. Like, you know what I mean? And what it means for the past, and just how to, you know, just move on and grow from it. You know, that's really about it. You know, that's it. It was one of them circumstances that you gotta love that it happened, even though at an emotional level or persona level it might have hurt you, your persona. You might feel like, oh, I gotta do this, man, I gotta get back or whatever. But, you know, the only way to get back is to get right with yourself and to move forward within you, because there's no point in jumping into cycles of destruction with other people. You know, I just feel like I got a taste of it, to where I was like, you know what, I really ain't, you know, I'm not about to let that suck me in. You know, I'm not really about to let somebody that's that destructive and that suicidal suck me into that. Like, you know, it just let me know. You know, I took on somebody's suicidal energy and tendencies. Because if you're homicidal, then you're suicidal. So, because if you feel like you can kill another person, then you'd already felt like you could kill yourself or get yourself killed, put yourself in a position to be killed. So, like, it was, I took, that residue from that collision, of that meeting of us, the residue from that, I took that on even more so than I already had carried. And it just took me a while to just let that go and breathe, man, because I feel like for like 2 years I ain't really properly breathed after that. I wasn't really breathing for 2 years. Smoking and shit, like, you know, I really wasn't even breathing for like a good 2 years. Like, honestly. I was shallow breaths for 2 years. You know what I mean? I was probably taking as much smoke as air. So that, you know, it really compromised what I was as a being and how I express myself with every breath on this earth. And you know, as soon as I got that back and realized like nobody can take that from me, I should never give anybody that power. As soon as I got that back and learned to forgive myself, there was nothing anybody could do. You know, I was bound to propel myself beyond situations like this for the rest of my life. You know, so just moving on from this point right now.
That's it.
That's it.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
Cause they stopped.
Yeah.